Meeting a century later, Chapter 4, First Part. What brings you to this island? The Black Knight, Berengildi, inquired in almost a groan. We took humans from the mainland. Someone with nerve might come and try to take them back. But that matters little to us. Giants pay no heed to swarming ants. Yet a man such as you mingles with those ants. Why is that, Dee? We reactivated the facilities on the island. His voice was like night-forged steel. And as Duchess Mizuki Dandorian, still at rest. Silence descended. Before long, the knight's reply in a properly stunned tone. How do you know her grace's name? Who in the hell are you? A hunter. His voice became an arc of silver. Berengildi jumped back 10 feet in a single go. As soon as the nobleman touched down on the ground, black blood gushed from his face. Though Meg had noticed that Dee's right hand was extended before him, she had no idea when he'd actually drawn, or how he'd cut his opponent. Wasn't the Baron's face supposedly covered by armor? Meg thought this had to be a nightmare. The scene before her eyes was a battle between a pair of demons, far removed from humanity. Dee went right up to the Baron. A mellifluous ching split the night air. The Baron had parried Dee's blade with the back of one steel gauntlet. At the same time, the other hand made a horizontal swipe at Dee's face. Meg saw the foot-long claws at the end of the Baron's fingers tear through the pale and beautiful visage. However, Dee remained as he was. This was because Dee had stepped back with unparalleled speed, leaving the claws to slash through empty space. What Meg had seen ripped apart was an after-image left by the incredible speed of the hunter's movements. Having taken one step back and another forward, Dee delivered a new blow from the high position. Beneath his armor, the Baron had laughter in his eyes. The same hand as before came up and parried the blade. Though sparks flew, the blade didn't stop, and the Baron's arm was lopped off at the elbow. The Baron had glimpsed the crimson light that glowed in the depths of Dee's eyes. You're a Dhampir, he asked, leaving a bloody waterfall in his wake as his body rose into the air. The 4 cylinders were indeed an anti-gravity device. We shall meet. The nobleman was about to say, again, when a diagonal flash of silver pierced his voice box. A dagger hurled by Dee. He groaned. For vampires, any wound save a blow to the heart or decapitation would heal almost instantly. However, the foe Gildy faced now was something that surpassed all imagining. He had an ominous feeling, and the agony that should have vanished in a second would continue forever. And the dagger that should have come out of him naturally, due to internal pressure, wouldn't budge at all, as if it were stuck in stone. Grabbing hold of it, the Baron applied additional power. Hellish pain ravaged his brain cells, and he passed out. His body continued to rise and was swallowed by the night sky. "You finish him?" inquired a hoarse voice from the vicinity of the hunter's left hand. But the young man in black didn't respond, turning instead toward the depths of the forest. "Wait." Meg ran like a girl possessed, circling around in front of him. Looking down, as if to avoid seeing his face, she said, I saw you back at the Cape. I don't know who you are, but please help me. It was an entreaty. Not halting, the young man responded, "No." Meg didn't relent. She couldn't give up. "I'm pretty sure you must have seen it. But those people that jerk just decapitated were from the same village as me. I don't know where everyone else who walked off into the fog went. Please, help me look for him." There was no reply, and the figure in black walked away through the grass. Meg circled around in front of him once more. Pointing to the corpses, she said, "Even the little kids from my neighborhood got turned into servants of the nobility. You had to have seen it. Somebody's got to save the rest of them. Joining the nobility's fate is one worse than death. Help me before that happens." "Everyone's probably already got a taste of the same," said a hoarse voice, thinking, why's a gorgeous guy like him got a voice like that? Meg shook her head violently. "No, that's not the way it is. The rest are all still alive, waiting to be rescued. We can't just pretend they don't exist. I'm begging you, please help me with this." He halted. Met by a countenance so exquisite it rivaled the moon, Meg almost felt like she too was glowing. Yet she was chilled to the very bone. "You have parents or siblings among them?" The young man inquired in a tone befitting that face. Meg swooned. "I do," she replied, her own voice sounding distant to her. "What about a boyfriend?" The girl returned to her senses. The second voice had been one of lecherous curiosity. Suddenly, tears spilled from her. She was so sad it hurt. "He died just a little while ago. I ran him through with a harpoon." "I'm a hunter," the young man said, his voice returning to normal. "I came to the island on a personal matter. But you want to hire me?" Meg wiped at her tears. Yes, I do," she exclaimed, suddenly adding, "about the money. Is it okay if I pay you later?" "Yes, but I don't come cheap." "I'll pay whatever it takes. I'll break into the vault in the mayor's office if need be. Hell, I'll sell my body to make the money if it comes to that." Somewhere, the hoarse voice laughed. Meg had no idea if that wasn't his real voice after all. Actually, a smile did cross Dee's lips. "Good enough." "Yes," she cried, jumping for joy. She couldn't be certain whether it was purely a reaction to being able to save everybody now, or from her happiness at being able to stay with this man. "From here on out, you'll have to do exactly as I say. Any resistance, and our contract will immediately be void." "Understood," she said, and then she thought with surprise, was that actually me? "So, what do we do now?" "The nobility have a facility in center of the island. That's where the villagers should be." If that's what he says, it must be so, she thought. Why'd they bring everybody out to the island anyway? "It's where they conduct their experiments." "Experiments? What kind?" "Stay here," Dee said. "Answer the question. What kind of experiments are they doing?" "Dietary ones," the other voice said. The remark was so cheeky, it made the blood rush to the girl's head. What's with that voice? Is it ventriloquism? Are you screwing around with me? I remind you I'm your employer. We have a contract. For a heartbeat, Meg was stuck for an answer, but a second later she exploded. It's cancelled. Null and void. Null and void. Who'd hire a snooty hunter like you? Fine. I'll rescue 'em all on my own. Just you wait and see. She gnashed her teeth at him before walking off, but with her third step her knees buckled. Limply collapsing, she then clutched both hands to her abdomen and murmured dolefully, "So hungry." Meg hadn't had anything to eat since leaving the village. Her throat was parched too. She couldn't even stand like this, let alone fight. There was the sound of hoofbeats coming up behind her. As the cyborg horse passed by Meg, a pack of portable rations like travelers carried landed in her lap. She looked up in astonishment. To find D astride the steed, and already a good 15 feet away. He must have brought the horse over in his boat. However, she cried out, "Wait just a minute," and got to her feet. The cyborg horse had already broken into a gallop. "Come on, wait. Take me with you. You just leave a woman in a place like this, and you call yourself a man." Her words bounced in vain off the black back of the rider, and his raiment melted into the inky darkness. An intense feeling of regret churned in the girl's heart. Was I supposed to wait here? No. That won't do. I'll find everybody and save them, sure as I live. But first, the stout-hearted girl who'd wiped away her regret with resolve sat down on the spot and tugged the string on the ration pack. In 3 seconds, a chemical heat pack warmed the entire thing. Taking off the cover and setting it down, she found the tray-shaped compartments filled with steaming stew, fruit, and vegetable pastes, and bread. Though it might not exactly be delicious, it was guaranteed to be nutritious and filling. Before taking a mouthful of stew from the included spoon, Meg gazed off into the depths of the darkness, where the exquisite rider and his steed had vanished, and stuck out her tongue. Or she intended to, but then she stopped. She would never dishonor him. He was the very embodiment of teenage dreams, something that would always evade her grasp, no matter how hard she might try to catch him. But even knowing that, she couldn't help wanting it. First part, and